2025, as a whole, felt like a roller coaster ride for gaming. While we did get many indie and AA games that got their deserved time in the spotlight, it also came with just as many issues, if not more. Layoffs, price increases, grifters, unnecessary patents, plus the abundance of generative AI. On top of that, there's the current state of the world right now, which hasn't helped either. Many people started gravitating towards older titles and hardware. Emulation has seen a huge rise, along with people going back to their never-ending backlogs. A Consumer Reports survey found that 14% of gamers in the US frequently play games made before the year 2000. According to Circana's senior director, only 30% of US-based gamers buy 1 or 2 games per year. Another 33% don't buy any new games at all within a 12-month period. I still buy lots of Steam games, but usually only through cheap key sites, bundles, or seasonal sales. Emulation easily takes the cake for me. I own a large hard drive loaded with emulators and ROMs, which gives me a plethora of games to choose from at any time. Nowadays, it's as simple as using your own mobile device or buying one of those nostalgic looking handhelds that have been trending for a while. Outside of the Sonic and Mario marathon I continued last year, my most played games ended up becoming a mixed bag. These are the games that carried me through 2025. In terms of style and presentation, Bomb Rush Cyberfunk really did it for me in 2025. I'd only ever seen or heard things about Jet Set Radio and Jet Set Radio Future, but after years of this game popping up on my feed since its reveal in 2021, I finally gave it a shot. Not to mention the number of clips I'd seen using mods, which honestly just pushed my need to buy it even more. The game takes place in the fictional city of New Amsterdam. You follow graffiti artists known as writers, like the Bomb Rush crew, performing various vandalism acts in a race with other gangs to become All City, a term given to those who successfully paint over all 5 boroughs. The story has you play as Fox, soon to be Red, shortly after being decapitated by DJ Cyber and being reassembled with a red, cybernetic head. Due to this, he's lost all sense of self, including his memories and personality. With the help of the Bomb Rush crew, featuring Trice and Bell, you head to New Amsterdam and try to piece together the controversies happening behind the scenes with the police and others involved. I don't want to spoil it too much, since I think one of the game's highest selling points is its story. There's only a total of 6 chapters to go through, which took me roughly 8 to 9 hours to complete. Still, there's plenty of post-game content and unlockables to keep you entertained, and there were rarely any times when I got bored while tackling the story. The gameplay and its aesthetic are oozing with style, not to mention the amazing soundtrack done by Hideki Naganuma, the composer for both Jet Set Radio games and the first Sonic Rush game, one of my favorites. And you can get even more out of that thanks to the modding community. Customizable characters and models, online play, new levels to download, gameplay tweaks, and more. The game's base price is $40, but you can snag it for $20 when it goes on sale, as I did. 3 months ago, the developers Team Reptile announced their follow-up game Hyperfunk, which includes confirmed online play and even more style and speed than the first game. Not much has been revealed or said besides the trailer, but I'll definitely be getting it. While I wait for the next entry, I guess now's a good time to try out all the Jet Set Radio games that are out there. Another marathon for me to add to the list. I've been dabbling with roguelikes ever since I got introduced to them on the Switch with games such as Enter the Gungeon and Wizard of Legend, 2 of my favorites within the genre. That being said, however, I still haven't beaten either of them because of how insanely hard and challenging they tend to be, a characteristic you often find in this type of game. While that may seem off-putting to some, it's actually what keeps me coming back and playing more, the addictive gameplay loop. And all of these sentiments I have are doubled with Hades, my current favorite for a few years now. It follows Zagreus, the son of Hades, the god of the dead, who is trying to escape the underworld against his father's will to uncover the truth about his past. Along the way, the Olympian gods will lend you their abilities and support, each hoping you will succeed. Every escape attempt pushes the story forward even when you fail, with new dialogue, character interactions, and unlockables waiting back at the House of Hades. There's plenty of roguelike games out there that tie their narrative into the gameplay loop, but I think Hades does it best. The use of Greek mythology lore and its cast of genuinely likable characters goes a long way. Every time I die from a run, I'm always curious as to what one-liner Hypnos will throw at me, or how pissed off Meg will be after another encounter in Tartarus.
I'm back, Meg.
You ready for me this time, Zagreus? Come on and fight. No holding back.
It keeps the game feeling fresh and makes the story feel like it unfolds on your own terms and pace. That's on top of the variety of weapons and RNG you'd expect from a roguelike. As I said earlier, I haven't beaten any of the ones I've played, including this one. Well, kinda. You see, to completely beat the main story, you have to beat it a total of 10 times. Afterwards, there's an epilogue by maxing out relations with many of the characters. As of this video, I've only beaten it 5 times, so I'm literally halfway there. I'm gonna have to make sure I put this game high on my priority list because I really want to play Hades 2, since that's been out of early access since September of 2025. Also, the best weapon in the game is the Eternal Spear. Fight me on that one.
Hey, Sonic!
Anyone who knows me knows I grew up loving Sonic the Hedgehog, especially Sonic Unleashed on the 360. Playing Unleashed for the first time blew my mind as a kid who grew up on all the GameCube Sonic titles. I instantly fell in love with the boosting mechanic, graphics, story, and even the Werehog levels. I still feel the same today. Yes, the day stages were better overall, but if the night stages had been polished and the repetitive battle music had been removed, I think the game would have been received better, in my opinion. It truly felt like an adventure in Sega's finale. I mean, think about it, they had Eggman finally achieve his goal of creating Eggman Land, and the opening cutscene is the best we've seen Sonic in terms of animation to this day. When it was released, the visuals and use of the Hedgehog engine were genuinely ahead of their time. Now, there are ways to play this game today, such as the Unleashed project through Sonic Generations, or via Xenia and RPCS3 emulators, but those all come with their own caveats. The Unleashed project only works with the OG Generations game, which since has been delisted on Steam, making it unavailable to purchase. Unless you buy the Sonic Legacy bundle on Steam, of course, going for roughly $50. Emulators, meanwhile, came with inconsistent results and issues, leaving the experience uncertain, even if you left most settings untouched. Even playing on original hardware isn't as smooth as you'd hope, despite it being the console the game was built for. Out of all the Sonic Boost games, Sega and Sonic Team completely skipped over Sonic Unleashed. I mean, Sonic Colors and Generations came out after it, but both got remasters, so why not this one? I'm not sure if it's because they're waiting to do some sort of Silver X Sonic Unleashed project or what, but it's definitely weird. But that's where the Unleashed Recompiled project comes in. A native PC port of the game with many quality of life improvements, such as a comprehensive options menu, unlocked frame rate, ultra wide support, built-in achievements, and support for Linux and the Steam Deck. And best of all, mod support on Game Banana has been booming ever since the Recomp dropped, releasing quality of life mods and new features every day. As soon as I saw the trailer for this, man, I instantly set up everything and got myself a 100% save file online. Not to mention there's even a mod for the Werehog called Like a Werehog Extreme Fury Definitive Edition that overhauls Sonic's nighttime mechanics and lets you choose up to 10 different fighting styles. For a while in March and April of 2025, this was my go-to if I wanted a quick game to hop back onto, or if I came back after work. It's as if this were released officially by Sega in an alternate timeline. I personally don't think we'll get Unleashed anytime soon, considering I feel as though Sega would like to keep moving forward with this franchise. I see them doing possibly a Frontiers 2, if it'll even be called that. Now I'm going to be including these two as one entry since they're pretty much the same and continue off each other. And I won't spend too much time explaining the story either, as I'm pretty late with both of these entries. For Miles Morales, I really enjoyed the game, despite it being shorter than the first one. It has some of the same mechanics, with the new one here being the Venom mechanic. Pretty weird name for it in my opinion. Anyway, it felt like it should have been DLC for the first game, then a whole separate entry, but I enjoyed the story nonetheless. Now on to Marvel's Spider-Man 2. The game's really good as a whole, but the PC port is moderately rough at times when I was experiencing the story mode. There were weird glitches and random freezes that occurred, plus a few key story moments got ruined for me due to delayed audio or cutscenes trying to load in real time. This wasn't my experience with the other two games on my build, so this was clearly a rushed product despite it getting some updates after release, and the recent update patch was released on May 22nd, 2025. Even with all its flaws, I had a lot of fun with this game and its new mechanics and gameplay tweaks. I think Insomniac's Spider-Man universe is one of the best stories told for Spidey. The stakes and events were a lot higher than the previous two entries, and I was at the edge of my seat with most of what I experienced, especially with the black suit and the conflict with Harry, Peter, and Miles. Speaking of Miles though, their biggest L was giving him that atrocious suit. I was so devastated when doing the final mission, and there was no option to opt out on changing the suit.
It's time for a Miles Morales original, you know? One of one.
That shit's aspirin.
God, I swear, I literally had to take a point off my rating for the game solely for this reason. But in the meantime, while we wait for the next Spidey title, I can't wait to experience a different level of heroes with Insomniac's Wolverine, whenever that comes to PC.
Wolverine.
Now I know this might sound crazy to you guys, but 2025 was the year I finally sat down and watched all of the mainline Star Wars movies. I'm very late to the party, I know, but to sum up my thoughts, the original trilogy is the best, the prequels as a whole are actually really solid if you watch them via fan edits, and I'm just going to act like the sequels and its follow-ups are non-existent. Anyway, in June, I started getting interested in this game after seeing clips on Reels and TikTok. This also happened to be when the game went on sale for $5, specifically the Celebration Edition, and I had a blast. It was definitely one of my favorite multiplayer experiences in recent times, going hours with friends and even taking hours off work to come back home and play. Since I hadn't played many of the Star Wars games during my movie marathon, this sparked my interest in checking out and buying more of them whenever they went on sale. My face was genuinely in awe the first time I played as a stormtrooper and realized I could switch between first person and third person on the fly. I love the massive maps and player-filled lobbies, especially with the variety of game modes and classes to choose from. Even moments like the whole clanker trend blowing up in the game chat added to how memorable the experience was. Playing this was such a great experience with friends and randoms when servers were active again in the summer of 2025. But of course, hackers had to ruin the fun though, GG's EA. Yup, a few months in, hackers and cheaters started to flood matches, which is why I stopped playing and eventually uninstalled the game altogether. I tried scratching the same itch by jumping back into the original Battlefront games on Steam, but it didn't quite hit the same. On top of that, online matches were usually only active in the mornings, from what a friend told me. By this point, I had picked up a handful of other Star Wars games, but I really wanted to focus on BF2, especially since I felt like I hadn't put enough time into it yet. Plus, after getting my fill of multiplayer, I actually wanted to check out the story mode too. Thankfully, however, things turned around with the release of the Kyber Open Beta, which became available to everyone on December 20th of last year. For those unfamiliar, Kyber is an all-in-one launcher for Battlefront II on PC that adds community-hosted multiplayer with full mod support using Battlefront Plus, the biggest ongoing mod for the game. To put it simply, think of it as if EA continued updating and supporting the game as the franchise went on. New reinforcements, blasters, bug fixes, star cards, proximity chat, etc. Including new heroes and villains such as Ahsoka, Padme, Cal, Ventress, Jango Fett, and many more. I highly recommend getting the launcher setup. All you need is to own Battlefront 2, it doesn't matter which storefront, and just download the mods within the launcher. Kyber used to be only available to Patreon subscribers, but the fact that they decided to release the open beta for free after a community vote of 80-20 is amazing. You love to see it. Calling Smash Ultimate my favorite game would be an understatement, considering I put over 1,200 hours into it. And that's just from the online mode and some local play with friends. To this day I still haven't touched the adventure mode, World of Light. I grew up with the series through Melee and Brawl, and those games solidified my love for not just platform fighters, but fighting games in general. And all the same feels go to Rivals of Aether II, which quickly became one of my most anticipated releases when it dropped in late 2024. The original Rivals of Aether was a 2D pixel art platform fighter with the same core mechanics as Smash, but stripped down. No shields, grabs, or ledge grabbing of any kind. Due to this, it was known for being very quick and snappy, with little to no defensive options available. but included wave dashing. Rivals of Aether II, on the other hand, brings all those missing elements into the mix while expanding on them in meaningful ways. Shields, grabs, and ledge mechanics are now included, alongside a new 3D art style and the return of wave dashing, which makes the game feel close to Melee. On top of that, the game introduces 3 entirely new special mechanics: the Pummel Special, activated by pressing special while grabbing an opponent, the Ledge Special, usable while hanging from the ledge, and the Get Up Special, which can be performed during a knockdown. These are mechanics I could easily see Smash Bros. Adopting in a future entry. Now for the elephant in the room, a new Smash Bros. Game. Once that releases, wouldn't Rivals 2 be dead or have fewer players? Well, at least for me, not necessarily. I still own my original Switch, but after getting a gaming PC and enjoying the Steam ecosystem, that's become my primary platform now. I also plan on buying the next Steam Deck iteration down the line, whenever that releases. The Switch 2 just isn't for me, despite my love for Nintendo games. I'll just stick to emulation for that department. That isn't to say I won't play the next Smash game, I'm definitely gonna play it, but I don't want to be one of those people who buy a Switch 2 just for 1 or 2 games. I've seen that happen way too many times. I've also grown to appreciate and love the work of Aether Studios has put into this, their games, and other media that are within the Aetherverse. It's apparent they wear their Smash Bros. Inspiration on their sleeve, but the characters, lore, and sheer passion behind it all makes me want to root for them. That being said, the game right now isn't casual friendly. Since it was originally funded through Kickstarter, features like story mode, items, casual stages, and the announced return of workshop support are still in development and or on the way. Despite the $30 price tag, I'd consider it early access since the original Rivals of Aether was called the Definitive Edition when it released to consoles. But if you're a hardcore platform fighter or love Smash Bros, this one's definitely for you. And it's also good to note that Rivals 2 is actually part of the EVO lineup for 2026. I think this is one of the few games where I'd like to go competitive in. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. What were games that kept you going or on your toes in 2025? And which titles are you anticipating this year? Let me know down in the comments below and let's discuss it. Until next time, or when the 2026 video releases, adios.